This is Bill again from panzertractors.com. I have 4 new tractors that I just purchased, and I'd like to show you some characteristics of them. From right to left is a T70B, and a 1012 Meteor, a T750 ADS, and a T75. The T70 is the only one that just said Panzer cast in to the front end. It didn't say Pennsylvania on the top, it didn't say Copar on the top, it just said Panzer. They started making them in 1960 when Virginia Metal Crafters bought out Copar. So they just removed the Copar. It's the same as a T65 that was in production from Copar, except the T65 has cast aluminum nose housing, the front axle, and the drive casting. So all this is cast iron. Now you'll find hybrids, T65s, that had cast iron pieces on them as they ran out their stock during the transition to the T70. T70 also has a parking brake right there. This T70 has an original 6 horsepower Briggs. The 6 is a improved from the 5 3/4 from the T65 and prior. It has a quarter more horsepower, but it says easy spin on it. They did a little bit of, they shaved the head a little bit to give it a little more compression, and they put a compression release in it. It still has an air vane governor in it. This one has a mower deck actuator for the mower deck and a PTO. Now this PTO on the top of it is blank. I have another one on the older tractors. That's a Copar. Now these are probably still in stock in inventory, so this might be just one that they bought later on, because this T75 was started in 63, I believe, or T75 in 63 or so. Alright, the T65s had 2 pulleys, T70s had 3 for 3 speeds. This one is a B, and I think the B designation There you go. T70B, I think, is the designation for the 6 horsepower Briggs. There's the throttle. Now all these tractors share the same style of rear end. They weren't from the same model year car, Chrysler products, so you'll find little differences between them. But these rear ends are actually upside down from the large Panzers. They did that for ground clearance for the 12-inch tires. It's not really a bad lubrication issue on a tractor this small. Alright, so that's a T70. Notice the long hood on it. The T75, which came along later in 63 or so, that has a 7 horsepower engine. A lot of the older tractors, like the T70s, were replaced with this 7 horse or even an 8 horse. And you can see there's a mechanical governor on it right there. So that is controlled, or it controls the throttle. You'll see it moving down here. So the 75 has a shorter hood on it. That gives you a little more room. They have a dashboard with the throttle controls right on the dash with this 3/4 wheel, which was available on other products, other tractor models. T75. And I'll show you on the other ones, the 758s, they had an ammeter that would go in there. Other than that, it's pretty much the same tractor. It has a different front end geometry. Instead of being straight across, it has some geometry in there to make the steering feel better. So the wheels are cambered negative. Little caster trail on it. So this one for a mower deck would have used this pulley right here in the front of the engine to go down to the deck with a mule drive underneath. It has another PTO on it, probably for a snowblower. One more thing with the T70, they had a BES, which I also have a copy of, and that hole right there is for the electronics to go to the, or a wire to go to the battery. Comes back up there. The battery would sit on a plate right in that area. So this is a T758 ES. So somebody put a different steering wheel on it. It has a round steering wheel. It has an 8 horsepower Kohler. You can see the mower deck. There's the pulley and the mule drive that goes down to the newer deck. Here's where the electronics were at. You see this one has the 2-speed gearbox in it. So push it forward to go low range and rearward for high range. So it gives you 6 speeds. So on these, to date them, the earlier tractors had Pennsylvania cast in to the grill along with Panzer cast in. What they did, I'll get to this one in a minute, they came up with the 1107, 1110, 1108, and the 10 series, which had the hydrostatic drive. It's a Sunstrand unit that was used in other tractor lines. But that's a very expensive tractor to produce. So they went back in about 68. And when they did, they had discontinued the Panzer line. So they just called it a Pennsylvania, but that sticker's been painted over. You can kind of see in there, it says Panzer. And so the newer T75s, 758s, had a sticker on them. This tractor has the dual rear wheels, and they were using a piece of cast iron. They weigh about 40 pounds apiece to space the wheels out. So they give you not only dual wheels, but they give you weight. I don't have it on this tractor, the whole setup, but this is a lift, a sleeve hitch lift for the plow. There's the engine plate for the 758 ES. That same plate would have been used on the T70 for the battery to sit on. This has the added backrest. It doesn't have the cross piece on it, but they had a backrest. This one had stuff added to it. There's an hour meter. You can see the ammeters there, a key start. That's not the original locks or cylinder, but the throttles are. Alright, so this is a 1012, the biggest of the new Panzers, the Virginia Metalcraft built Panzers. Has a wide seat on it, has the same rear end. You can see that they still had the mounting plates for the brackets on the rear ends that are used on the older tractors. This one has a 12 horsepower Tecumseh engine on it. You can see how the 3/4 inch or 3/4 steering wheel is necessary to get that hood open. So they tried to package it a bit better, but it resulted in a very wide hood. There should be a PTO on there on the engine to drive the snowblower. That's the lift for the implements. This is the lift for the implements on the older tractors. So this is the biggest engine they put on there. They had a 1010 model with a 10 horsepower Tecumseh. Better look at the Sunstrand drive. It still went back to a jack shaft through there and a chain drive to the rear end. Alright, if you have any questions, I'm Bill. Look me up at panzertractors.com.